Side or same side? Bingo. So next time someone comes in and they say, I really want to lunge, a new client. Why do you want to lunge? I love lunges because it guns and buns. I want firm buns. So I need to lunge. Which lunge might be the lunge that turns on their buns the most? Opposite side rotation. You just don't see it very often. But if you look at chain reaction biomechanics, that might be the one that loads it the most. Do you do it with a 100-pound barbell on your back? No. But that's just a technique, right? The principle is, opposite side would really turn it on. And people say, yeah, we don't do that in function. BS. I don't even play, clearly I don't play basketball. Clearly. Right? I noticed that they do a lot of pivoting though. And when they pivot, boy, they wind it up onto the opposite side rotation. Yeah. And a pitcher, boom, I just took my left leg and wound it to the opposite side rotation. But in tennis, boom, opposite side rotation to explode. So when we talk about function today, I want us to feel it. As Cesar said, you beautiful beast of a man, you were right. But I want us to think about, what does the hip need? What does the spine need? And then tick the box that gives it what it needs. Posterior. Same side lateral, opposite side lateral. Same side rotation, opposite side rotation. Then we've got the hybrids. If that's anterior and that's lateral, that's anterior lateral. That's posterior lateral. That's opposite side posterior lateral. That's opposite side anterior lateral. And the options are endless. That's what a matrix is. Right rotation. This hip gets internal rotation. This hip gets external rotation. And then I switch it. They're also getting flexion and adduction. They're getting the three things that hip needs to function. And all you did was shake it while you baked it. That's all you did. The transverse plane is incredible. But if you did that in your club, for someone 75 complaining of getting in and out of the chair because they've got poor mobility, what would most coaches around you say if they saw you? Bad posture, bad form, you're going to hurt them. Quite the opposite. We just got a different set of grounding principles. That's all it is. All three of the hamstrings start in the ischial tuberosity. The butt, you sit on it all day. But then they fan out like a tent. Two of them come down the medial. And they wrap around into the tibia and the tibial tuberosity. The other one, the bicep femoris, starts ischial tuberosity but also lateral femur. Wraps around into the fibula head. If I had a horse and I put reins on it, and if I pulled down the left rein, where would the horse go? I pulled on the right, it would go right. Make sense? What happens if I pull on both? If you're the hamstring and you go from your butt to the front of your knee, if I pull on the outside, what would it do to the knee? If I pull on the inside, here's the question. If I go and pull on both, what would it do to the knee? Bingo, your hamstrings extend your knee. Which means you might need to train them different in the transverse plane. Because you want some rotation, you don't want too much. And more importantly, you want to be able to get there and get home. The key to injury prevention and function is not don't go into at-risk motions, it's can you get there and get back safely. Because if you look at any sport, they go to extreme ranges of motion, under extreme loads and speeds, whilst cutting, handing someone off and getting hit. And we don't. Deceleration, whatever you call it, we would just call it load.
Stronger in the load before you explode.
Mass and momentum are kind of important. You really can't throw a ball very far unless you really wind that sucker up and let it go. You need to train against mass and momentum. So load to explode. So if I'm in prone now, what would I need to do? Everybody, you can do it on your hand. I like doing it on my hands. Or you can do it on your elbows. And all I'm going to have you do is drive your belt buckle to the ground and then up. To the ground and up. To the ground and up. Everybody go. Give it like 5. Take it in turns.
Flashlight on each hip.
Flashlight to the ground. Just boom, flashlight, boom, flashlight, boom, flashlight, boom, flash lock. In this case, I'm going to ask you to stay on the balls of your feet, your toes. Don't let your feet go with it. Just take that flashlight, hit the ground, come home. Boom, stand over tiptoes and switch. Boom. Oh, that side doesn't want to go. Boom. That side's not happy with me. Boom. What's really cool is rotation. As you drive your hand up, what's it doing to my spine? Watch it. Flexion, extension. I actually just got more sagittal plane by going into the transverse.
And when you look like, oh,
Right. What else could we do? I want you to stagger your legs, bottom leg back, top leg forward. What does this do? If I bring my leg back, what does it want to do to me? It wants to rotate me which way? Try it. Lift up your leg, hip extension on the top leg. It wants to rotate you posteriorly, which means everything on the front in the transverse plane is now holding on for dear life. What would happen though, if I now took that knee forward, I would try and knee forward. What would gravity, mass and momentum have you do now? Rotate anterior. So now everything on the back of the core in the transverse plane. Make sense?
Yes.
What about if we had an arm driver? So now, as you bring this leg up, I want you to your legs in the sagittal plane, your arms in the frontal plane. Arm goes overhead, knee comes up. And then we're going to go here. Drive your knee up, arm back, knee up, arm back. Tell me how your core feels in the transverse plane.
occupied.
Occupied. Then I do quad. That's just for today, for this client. What am I going to do to get that in the transverse plane? Well, the first option we already showed you. We said, you know what, I'm not going to go in the sagittal plane, which is posterior and anterior. And I'm not going to go in the frontal, same side or opposite side. Which one might we do? So first of all, let's do same side, right rotation. Same side lunge. Well, now listen to your body and say, okay. Do a few of those, and then, do you remember opposite side? Where would opposite side be? Go. Okay. Which one do you think turned on your butt more? Where did you feel it? Same side or opposite side?
Opposite.
Okay. But let's say, man, that's just, for that client, they're not successful then. They may not have the hip internal rotation, the stability, the coordination. Every time we try and do it, they're going down. Well, that's not a good option, right? A million ways we can tweak it. But it turns out they're really successful in the sagittal plane anterior. Here, and then with the right, I want us to go anterior right left lunge with trunk flexion. Not spinal flexion, trunk flexion. Trunk flexion. Go to about 45, 60 degrees. You're going to pick something up, but don't use your hands yet. Boom. Just flex. Boom. Trunk flexion. I'm vertically orientated. This is what we call a stacked position. When I do this, mass and momentum wants to keep pulling me where? So everything back here says, whoa, Nelly, come back home. So just using trunk flexion turned on your butt more. That's still not the transverse plane. Let's do this. Pre-position your trunk, left rotation. Pre-position your trunk, left rotation. Keep it there. Now you do left anterior lunge. And come home. Left anterior lunge. Come home. Pre-position that trunk. Left rotate and trunk flexion. You've still got to give me that trunk flexion. Pre-position. One more time. Ready? Eyes and ears on me. I'm not coming back every time I'm here. Look, pre-position, keep it there. Trunk flexion, keep it there. Boom, back home. Look, I don't actually come back on my trunk. Rotate, keep it there, and now give me that trunk flexion with the left anterior lunge. Internal rotation of the left hip. Why? Because when I internally rotate the butt, it winds it up. If I don't take my hip into rotation, but I take my trunk, what just happened at that hip? I've already got your butt turned on before you moved. So my strategy here is I want to get that butt turned on in the transverse plane. That's it.
So I understand why you start.
Yeah.
Why you go down. Right?
That's anterior, that's lateral. Right hand, left anterior lateral reach at 45 degrees. With trunk flexion and rotation. Looks like this. Bang, and come home. Bang, and come home. Bang, and come home. Keep going. Swing. Get 3 or 4 of those. We did this to start with. Right leg, right rotational lunge with bilateral hand swing. Now go opposite. Right leg, opposite side rotation with swing. Now combine. Step, 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 step. Tell me how your left hamstring and butt feels when you really swing it to the opposite side. That thing's loaded, man. Do it on the other leg. So now it's going to be right leg stays. Get your back, get going. I'll do some to the same side. Now I'm going to go opposite side. Now I'm going to wind them up together. Boom, bam, boom, bam. That, and just go to a toe touch, come home. Toe touch, not a toe dump, a toe touch.
Now this is stability.
Come home. So
Form
right leg will
stability.
go right rotation. And after you've done 3 or 4 of those, now no toe touch. Boom, boom, boom. Keep going. Left leg. As you're doing this, toe touch it, and then go to no touch. Right? No toe touch. So you want to get there and get home without touching. How many of you feel that one leg is completely different to the other? What leg? The stance leg. The leg holding you up. When you walk, when you run, when you jump, everything you're doing is on one leg. You go from one to the other, but you don't run on 2 legs. You run on walk on one leg. And then I have to shuffle, cross leg, cut. It's always on one leg. If that hip doesn't have the mobility, which was the first one we did, in a transverse plane, that's a problem. You know what's equally problematic? If it doesn't have the...
Stability.
Say it louder.
Stability.
Because in the absence of stability, your body will not give you mobility. If it doesn't think it's safe, it's not going to give you more, it's going to give you less. If you don't have stability, you will never really improve your mobility. The oxymoron is you need mobility to get optimal stability. Why? Motion turns on proprioceptors turn on muscles. That's why at the Gray Institute we call it most stability. You need both. But make no mistake, if you're not stable, stop cranking on that mobility. You might need to work on some stability. There's a question in the back. Stand up and go. Does that feel like it's really turning on your abs of still?
Yeah.
No. As far overhead as they can. That's it. Like for me, I can walk that far, right? Go. Come home. Go. Come home. Go. Come home. Does that turn on anterior overhead reach whilst you look overhead? Yeah, everybody, yeah, give me another one of those. Now you've got it. What plane of motion? You're in this one here. What plane of motion is really going to get those abs? What's the topic of the day? So here's what I want you to do. As you lunge back with your right leg, I want you to rotate your arms to the left. Step back with the right leg posterior lunge, bilateral hand swing, left rotation. Now take that rotation and reach overhead. Now take your eyes with it. Do you feel those abs? Yes. Try the other side.